Why did the trees move closer every time? Why did the trees move closer every time we blinked? I haven't told anyone this. Not fully, not really. I tried once, told my girlfriend bits of it after we got back. She laughed at the wrong parts, thought I was exaggerating. And now, I kinda wish I was. So here it is, raw. This happened last October. I went camping with my two oldest friends, Mason and Tyler, up in the northern Cascades near Ross Lake. It's one of those places that looks photoshopped even in real life. Glacial water so blue it's almost fake. Pine trees packed so tight they look like green walls. We picked it because it was remote as hell. No cell service for miles. Had to drive 5 hours from Seattle, then hike in with everything on our backs for another 3. We planned it like some rugged detox trip. Leave the stress behind, no Instagram, no Uber Eats. Just us, some whiskey, firewood, and the trees. Mason's the chill one. Big hiker. Always wears that old Patagonia puffer even though the zipper's busted. Tyler's more of a gym guy, cocky, a little too into alpha male podcasts, but loyal. I'm the planner, the one who double checks maps, brings the med kit, loads up on Cliff Bars, and has that neurotic, just in case mindset. So I noticed the first red flag. It was our first night. We'd made camp right next to this old logging trail that wasn't on any map. Tyler thought it looked cool, said it felt untouched. It was untouched by the sun. The whole area had this weird shadow hanging over it even during the day, like the trees had grown too close together over the years and choked out the light. Anyway, we're sitting around the fire laughing about college stories and roasting gas station hot dogs on sticks when I realize something weird. There's no sound. I don't mean quiet like city quiet. I mean nothing. No bugs, no wind, not even the damn owls. I pointed it out and Mason just shrugged. Tyler joked that maybe we were already dead. I didn't laugh. The weirdness started that night. We'd pitched our REI tents in a little triangle, close but not too close. Around 2 or 3 a.m. I woke up needing to piss. I stepped outside with my headlamp on, zipped my jacket halfway and walked like 10 feet from the tent. The light hit something. Not a full figure, just movement. A flicker of motion behind a tree, big enough to be a person. I froze. Thought maybe it was Mason or Tyler messing with me. I whispered, "Yo." No answer. The forest was too still. Then I heard it. A soft crunch, like someone shifting their weight. My heart spiked and I stepped back toward the tent, trying to keep my breathing down. "Hey," I whispered louder. "Who's there?" Still nothing. I backed up until I hit my tent, unzipped it too fast, almost ripped the flap. Crawled in, zipped it shut, didn't sleep. In the morning, I told the guys. Mason said I probably imagined it. Tyler grinned and asked if I was scared of Bigfoot. They didn't get it. I let it go. Maybe I was imagining it. Until the second night. Same spot. Same quiet. Same deep, heavy dark that looked like ink soaked into the sky. We'd gone to bed after a long hike to the ridge. Dead tired. I must have fallen asleep for an hour or two, then jolted awake. This time it wasn't to pee. It was to breathing. Not mine. Not inside the tent. Right outside. Like someone was squatting by the nylon taking slow, shaky breaths. I held my breath to make sure it wasn't mine echoing. No, this was separate. closer than it should have been. I didn't move, didn't make a sound, just lay there, paralyzed, staring at the tent ceiling like it would peel back and show someone crouched over me. The breathing went on for what felt like forever. Then, a soft, dragging zip sound, not from my tent, from Mason's. Then nothing. When the sun came up, I nearly ran to their tents. Mason looked exhausted, said he kept waking up, felt like something was brushing his feet through the tent wall. Tyler laughed it off again, called us twitchy city boys. But then he looked down and froze. There were footprints, bare, human, too big to be Mason's. Not mine, not Tyler's either. They circled our tents multiple times, stopped at the entrances, then wandered off into the woods. We packed everything in silence that morning and moved to a different site, closer to the lake, more open. I didn't say it out loud, but I was already thinking it. Someone was out there. Someone who didn't want us there. That night we triple-checked the tents, set up tripwire bells with tin mugs and twine, slept in shifts. At least that was the plan. Because right before it got fully dark, we saw something up on the ridge above us. A person, just standing there, watching. We waved, no wave back. They didn't move. Tyler shouted something like, "Hey, you good?" The figure stayed still, just stood. Then, after a few minutes, it turned and walked back into the trees. Mason wanted to leave right then, but Tyler wouldn't admit he was spooked. Said we'd come all this way and we weren't running from some crusty hermit. So we stayed. And I swear to God that was the last time we ever really slept. Because what happened that night, what we heard, wasn't just footsteps or breathing. It was talking, low, croaky, too quiet to understand, but definitely words. Right outside our tents, more than one voice. Mason whispered, "Do you hear that?" And I nodded, barely breathing. There were at least 2 people out there, talking, laughing, mocking us. I don't know how long we laid there, me and Mason, listening. It could have been 15 minutes, could have been hours. Time bends when your body's frozen with fear. The voices drifted in and out like someone was circling the tents, pausing, then shifting away again. I caught fragments. No, not yet. See what he does? A snort, a low laugh that sounded wrong, like the kind of laugh you'd hear in a nightmare where your dad has the wrong face. It was 2:47 a.m. when I checked my phone. Not because I thought it would help, just I needed something to anchor me, something not out there in the dark. I wanted to wake Tyler, but I was afraid the noise would draw attention, so we just laid there, still, breathing shallow, waiting for it to stop. Then, all at once, silence. No talking, no laughter, nothing but wind brushing through the trees like static. I thought it was over. I let myself believe that, just for a second. And then came the sound I'll never forget. A zipper. Not mine, not Mason's, not the tent's. Something else. Slower, bigger, a dragging kind of zip, like canvas being peeled open. I sat up. My heart was thumping so loud I thought it would wake Tyler before I could. I crawled over to my tent flap, unzipped just an inch, and peeked out. The campfire had long died. The moon was barely showing through thick cloud, but there was just enough light to see. Someone was standing near Tyler's tent, not moving, just standing there, facing it. Their head was tilted to the side like they were listening. I couldn't see their face, just the outline. No flashlight, no gear, nothing in their hands that I could see. Just a man, tall, gaunt, I whispered. Mason. He's back. He's at Tyler's tent. Mason sat up, slow. He didn't ask questions. He didn't speak. He just reached for the bear spray. Tyler hadn't moved. Either he was still asleep or worse. He had woken up and was too scared to move. I crawled out of my tent as quiet as I could. My legs felt like jello. My stomach was ice. I wanted to scream but kept swallowing it down. Mason followed me out, and we stood together, staring across the site. The man hadn't moved, still standing, still staring at Tyler's tent. Then, like a scene from some backwoods horror film, he slowly turned his head toward us. That's when I saw his face. He was smiling. Not a casual smile. Not a "you caught me" smile. No, it was stretched, crooked, like it physically hurt to smile that wide. His teeth looked too white in the dark, too perfect, like they'd been filed. And then, without a word, he stepped back into the trees. Gone. No footsteps, no snapping branches, just gone. We ran to Tyler's tent. He was groggy, confused, pissed off we woke him. What the hell is going on? You didn't hear anything? I asked. My voice cracked halfway through. Nah, man, I was out. He rubbed his eyes. You guys look like shit. We told him. Everything. The voices, the man, the zipper, the smile. Tyler got quiet. For the first time, I saw him actually scared. Not adrenaline scared. Uncertain scared. Like a guy realizing his strength didn't mean shit out here. We packed up at 4 a.m. Threw everything in our bags without care. I left my Yeti mug. Mason left his Jetboil stove. Tyler even left his damn protein powder. The plan was to hike back to the car, 3 hours in the dark, with just our headlamps. The trail twisted down a slope toward the lake before cutting back inland. We'd memorized it on the first day, but now everything looked different. The trees looked closer, like they'd moved. I know it sounds insane. Trees don't move. But I swear to God there were trunks that hadn't been there the day before. Thick, gnarled ones that leaned over the trail just enough to force us to bend or step off path. At one point, Mason muttered, "This trail didn't curve here before." Did it? We all stopped, looked around. No trail markers, no familiar bends, no rock pile we'd passed on the way in. Tyler checked the map. "We're going the right way," he insisted, but his voice was shaky. Then we saw the ribbon, a piece of red flannel tied to a branch. We hadn't left that. Tyler said, "That's not..." Then we saw another 20 feet ahead, another red piece of fabric dangling just above eye level. It wasn't trail tape. It was shirt fabric, torn, faded, stiff like it had dried in the rain. We followed them. We didn't know what else to do. They led us downhill, steeper, slippery. The trees kept getting thicker, denser. Then we found it. A clearing, a makeshift camp. But no tents, no food, just a wooden lean-to, piles of rotting clothes. A rusty hatchet stuck in a tree stump. Bones, small ones, maybe animal, maybe not, hung from twine like ornaments. And on the biggest tree in the center, carved deep into the bark, "Stay still or they hear you." We didn't move. not for a full minute. Then I whispered, "We're being led." Tyler's lip curled like he was going to vomit. Mason said, "We're not alone out here." And that's when the whistle started, slow, soft, like someone trying to mimic a bird. One long note, then two short ones. We spun around, a figure, closer this time, just watching, tilting its head. The same one, or someone new? We didn't wait to find out. We ran like hell. Have you ever run through pitch black woods knowing something is behind you but never hearing it? That's what it felt like. Branches slapped my arms and face, thorns scraped my legs, but I didn't stop. None of us did. We ran blindly, no direction, just away. The only light came from Tyler's headlamp swinging wildly like a strobe. Mason's had died. Mine was jammed somewhere in my pack, long forgotten. At some point we hit a dry creek bed and Tyler rolled his ankle hard, collapsed in the rocks with a scream that echoed too loud through the forest. I turned, grabbed him under the arm, dragging him up. Mason was behind us, huffing, saying something I couldn't hear over the blood rushing in my ears. But then the whistle came again. One long, two short. Closer, clearer, not a bird, not a fucking animal. It was a person pretending to be nature. That chilled me worse than the air ever could. We ducked into the brush, dragging Tyler off the trail into a thick patch of ferns and undergrowth. He was swearing, trying to muffle the pain. "I think it's broken, man. Shit. I think—" "Shut up," I hissed. "Shut the fuck up." We crouched there, trying to stay low, breaths fogging in front of us. No one spoke. I could hear my own heartbeat, then crunching, not animals, footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming down the same trail we just fled. I couldn't see who it was. The trees broke the moonlight into messy slashes, but I saw movement, a silhouette, tall, lanky, paused right where Tyler had screamed. They crouched, touched the spot where he'd fallen. Then they sniffed the air. I swear to God I heard it, like they were smelling her. Mason had his hand over his mouth, shaking. I could see his knuckles white in the dim light. The figure stood, turned, and whistled again. One long, two short. Then from somewhere else, deeper in the woods, the whistle was answered. A second person. Fuck. There were two of them. Tyler muttered, "What the hell do they want?" "They're herding us," I said. I don't even remember thinking it. It just came out. Like deer or cattle. He looked at me like he was going to lose it. Eyes wide, glossy. I think that's the moment it hit all of us. This wasn't random. This wasn't just some crazy loner with a tent and a knife. This was a game. We were being played with. After about 10 agonizing minutes, the figure moved on. Just walked off into the woods, not in a hurry, like they had all the time in the world. Like they knew we weren't getting far. We waited. I counted in my head. Made it to 300 before we moved. Tyler could barely walk, so we made a stretcher out of branches and our jackets. It slowed us down bad. But we didn't care. We just needed out. Eventually we found a side trail, thin, overgrown, not even on the map. But it went downhill and smelled like water, so we followed it. And that's when we came to the cabin. No electricity, no windows, just a squat, mouldy-looking thing, half-eaten by vines. The door was slightly open, We should have turned around right then. Every fibre in me said no. But Tyler was barely conscious and we needed shelter. Inside it smelled like rot and piss. The floor creaked like bones. There was an old metal bed frame against the wall, no mattress. A broken table, a chair tipped over, and carved into the walls, all over, were faces. Hundreds of them. Crude, scratched outlines of heads and eyes and mouths. Some smiling, some frowning. One looked just like the man from the ridge. On the inside of the door, in black marker, I'm still inside. I couldn't breathe. Mason said, "We're not staying here." I nodded, already backing toward the door. Then the door slammed shut. I spun. Nobody was there. I reached for it. Pulled. It wouldn't budge. "Guys," I said. "It's jammed. It's fucking jammed." Tyler groaned from the floor. Mason started hitting the hinges with his multi-tool. And from somewhere above us, the attic maybe, we heard it. The floorboards creaking. We froze. Not a raccoon. Not the house settling. A step. Then another. Heavy. Measured. Then, right above us, we heard whispering. A voice. Mason screamed and threw himself at the door. It cracked open on the third hit and we tumbled out into the dirt, not even caring about Tyler's leg anymore. We ran again, no idea where. Just into the trees. I looked back once and saw a hand, just a hand, pull the attic hatch back into place from the inside. Whoever was up there, they never left. Eventually, somehow, we found the lake again. It looked wrong, twisted under moonlight, but it was real. We followed the shoreline until the sun started bleeding through the treetops. We reached the main trail by mid-morning. Tyler had to be airlifted out. We flagged down a ranger who, of course, didn't believe us. Said we were dehydrated, delirious, maybe high. But when they went back to find the cabin, they couldn't. It wasn't there. Nothing. No clearing, no structure. Not even the faces, just thick woods. Unbroken forest. A lot of people ask why we didn't call the cops right away. Why we didn't raise hell, file a report, demand a search party. We tried. When we got back to the ranger station, I told the first guy I saw everything, minus the creepier details. Just the basics. We were being watched, followed. Someone was out there messing with us. He listened, nodded, scribbled something on a pad, then said, "There are no known cabins out there and it's not hunting season yet, probably some squatter. Happens more than you think." I wanted to grab him by the collar and shake him. A squatter? A squatter doesn't whistle like a goddamn predator and carve hundreds of faces into a wall. A squatter doesn't sniff the air like a bloodhound. But Tyler was on a stretcher. Mason looked like he'd aged a decade in one night. And I just didn't have the fight left in me. They offered to send someone out to poke around, but made it clear they didn't expect to find anything. They didn't. Not the flannel scraps, not the lean-to, not even the footprints. Like the forest had swallowed every sign whole. I didn't sleep the first night back in my apartment. Every sound, pipes creaking, wind on the window. I thought it was a whistle. Every time I blinked, I swore the shadows in my hallway had moved. Mason stopped returning texts after a week. Said he needed time away from people. Deleted his socials. Moved out of his apartment. Last I heard, he's working at some off-grid lodge in Montana. No phone, no internet. Tyler changed. At first he played it off, called it an extreme bonding experience, told the story at parties like it was some epic camping tale, but the cracks started showing. He started sleeping with a knife under his pillow, then a gun, then two. Eventually he quit his job and moved back in with his mum. Told me one night, completely sober, that he doesn't go outside after dark anymore. He keeps his curtains shut. He sleeps in the basement. I asked him why. He said, because they found me once. Then he hung up. That was 6 months ago. 2 nights ago, I woke up to the sound of whistling. Not on the street, not from a car, inside my building. One long, two short. I shot up in bed, heart punching my ribs. I live on the 3rd floor, no fire escape, no shared balcony. I didn't move for 10 minutes. Then I made the mistake of looking outside. There was a man standing in the courtyard, just standing there, head tilted up, staring at my window. I couldn't see his face, just the silhouette. Tall, thin, unnatural posture. And I swear to God, he was smiling. I blinked. He was closer. I closed the blinds, backed away, turned every light in my place on. Didn't sleep. In the morning I checked. The courtyard was empty, but in the dirt outside my window there were footprints. Bare, long, narrow, just like in the forest. I thought maybe it was a dream, sleep paralysis, whatever. But I found something under my door this morning, a folded piece of paper. No note, no threats, just a drawing, a tree line, 3 tents, 3 stick figures inside, and one just outside the tents, smiling. I don't know what the hell we stumbled into out there. I don't know if they were just men or something else. But I know this. It didn't end when we left the woods. They let us go. They wanted us to leave, because now they know where we live. 3 nights ago, I left my apartment. I don't know why. I was just sitting in my living room, staring at that drawing, the one someone slid under my door. My heart was going crazy, palms sweaty. I kept looking at the little stick figure just outside the tent, smiling, and I realized something. They weren't just watching, they were remembering. It was a memory, a keepsake. Like they were saying, remember this? We do. So I packed a bag, knife, flashlight, first aid, a half-full bottle of whiskey, a change of clothes. I told myself I was going for a walk to clear my head, that I'd circle the block, come back, maybe finally sleep. But I didn't turn left toward the main road. I turned right toward the trailhead. You know how most cities have those forgotten parks, the ones wedged between subdivisions, with trails that haven't been maintained in years. There's one a few miles from me, behind a bunch of half-built condos that got abandoned after the 2020 crash. It's all bramble and broken fences and faded signs. That's where I went, and I shouldn't have. The second I stepped off the pavement, I felt it. That pressure in the air, like before a thunderstorm. Only it wasn't weather, it was presence. That skin-tight feeling like something was watching me from all angles at once. No animals, no cars in the distance, just that silence. I walked for an hour. The deeper I went, the more it felt like the forest shifted, like the branches were parting just enough for me to move through, but closing behind me. Eventually, I saw it. A tree. Big, ancient. Split down the middle like lightning had kissed it. Only it wasn't charred. Just opened up. Inside the hollow, tacked to the wood, were photos. I swear. Actual printed photos. Curled from moisture. Pinned with rusty nails. Some were landscapes. Others weren't. One was of Mason, asleep in his tent, taken from outside. Another of Tyler, shirtless, brushing his teeth near the lake. And one, this one almost dropped me to my knees, was of me, sitting by the fire, laughing, holding a stick with a half-burnt marshmallow on the end. It wasn't from my phone. It wasn't from any of our phones. It was from their perspective, taken without us ever knowing. That's when I heard the snap behind me. Not twigs, not a branch, a camera shutter. I turned, flashlight up. Nothing, just trees, then again, click, closer. I didn't say anything, didn't scream, I just ran. I didn't care where, I tore through the brush, ducking low, catching thorns on my arms. One branch cut me bad across the cheek. I didn't stop. My legs went numb. My lungs felt like wet paper. But I ran, and they chased me. I didn't see them. I didn't need to. I heard them, whistling. One long, two short, and then laughter. So much laughter. Not loud, not wild, controlled. Like it wasn't joy, it was ritual. I swear to God I heard someone say, "Let him go. He knows the way." What the fuck does that mean? I made it to the trailhead by sunrise. Collapsed in the parking lot, bloody, bruised, barely able to breathe. Some jogger found me, called an ambulance. I told them I was mugged. I didn't tell them about the photos, or the tree, or the voices. When I got home, hospital band on my wrist, stitches across my face, my door was already unlocked. They'd been inside. My closet was open, my knives were gone. The photos of me and my family, only mine, were gone from the fridge. On the kitchen counter, under the salt shaker, was a new drawing. Just one tent this time, one stick figure inside, and one figure standing right behind it, holding a camera, smiling. I've been sleeping in the bathtub with a hatchet. Not because I think it'll stop them, but because the bathroom has no windows. I called Tyler yesterday. He didn't pick up. So I called his mom. She was crying. She said Tyler hadn't come out of the basement in 2 days. That the night before he'd screamed and shoved a dresser in front of the door. She asked if I knew what was happening. I didn't know what to say. She said something else before she hung up. She said Tyler had been carving trees into the wall. Hundreds of them, all in red ink, and in each one, there was a little black figure, watching from behind a tree. I drove to Tyler's house the same night his mum called me. I didn't think. I didn't pack anything. I didn't even lock my door, just grabbed the hatchet and drove through 2 red lights to get there. The whole way I kept seeing flashes in my rearview mirror. People standing on the shoulder of the road. Just shadows. Shapes. One of them waved. Every time I blinked, the road looked narrower. Like the trees were pressing in again, even in the suburbs. When I got to the house, his mum answered the door, pale and shaking, eyes puffy. "He won't let me in," she whispered. I went to the basement door, knocked. "Tyler, it's me." Nothing. I tried again. "Open the door, man, please." Silence. Then scratch, scratch, scratch. Slow, dragging sounds from the other side of the door, like someone dragging a nail or the tip of a knife down the wood. And then his voice, low, flat, not like Tyler at all. "They're in the walls now." My stomach dropped. "I can see them when I close my eyes," he said. "They've got faces, too many teeth." I didn't know what to say. I pressed my forehead to the door. "You're not alone, dude. We're gonna figure this out." He laughed. It wasn't a real laugh. It was mimicked, like someone imitating how a laugh sounds. Then he whispered, "Mason opened the tree. That's how it started." "What tree?" But I already knew. The split one, with the photos. I stayed there for a while, talking to him through the door. But eventually it got quiet. Then too quiet. No breathing. No creaking floor, just nothing. That was 4 days ago. Tyler's missing now. His mum found the basement empty the next morning. The dresser pushed aside from the inside. No signs of forced entry, no blood, nothing stolen. The only thing left was a carving in the concrete floor, a circle of trees, and one stick figure. But this time the stick figure was upside down, hanging by its feet. Underneath it was one word, scratched deep and messy like it was done fast. Blink. I tried calling Mason again, burner phone. The line didn't even ring, just disconnected like it never existed. So I flew to Montana, found the lodge he was supposed to be working at, took 2 buses and a rental truck to get there. Real middle of nowhere shit. Gravel roads, no cell towers, just pine trees and dust and sky. The guy at the front desk said Mason quit a month ago. Didn't say why. Just left one morning before sunrise, left his gear behind. The only thing missing was a compass and his boots. When they went to check his cabin, they found carvings, not words this time, just eyes. Hundreds of them, all staring in the same direction toward the forest. The guy looked nervous, even telling me about it. He said, "You knew him well?" "Yeah," I said. "He ever mention the others?" "What others?" The guy paused. "Never mind." Then he said, "You should go before it gets dark." Now I'm back. But I can't stay here. They know me now. I see the trees outside my window and they're closer every morning. I measure them, I take photos. I'm not crazy. They're moving. I hear the whistling through the vents at night. One long, 2 short, always followed by the sound of something dragging across the ceiling. I haven't slept more than 10 minutes at a time. Not because I'm scared, because I can't risk blinking. Every time I do, they're closer. I've started carving eyes into the walls. I don't know why. It just feels right. Like maybe if I can see them first, they can't take me. Like maybe it's already too late. There's something I haven't told you. Something I found in my jacket pocket this morning. A Polaroid. It wasn't there yesterday. It's me, in my apartment, asleep, mouth open, blanket half off, and standing over me is a figure, tall, smiling, holding a camera. And in the corner, someone wrote, "Now you remember too." I'm not asking you to believe me. Just remember one thing. If you're ever alone in the woods and you hear someone whistle, one long, two short, don't run, don't scream, don't blink, because that's when the trees start to move. And once they know your face, they never forget it.